That was Unclouded Day by Reverend J.K. Atwood, as performed by the Ames Chamber Artists, directed by Dr. Jennifer Rogers. Wow. Anyway, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome. My name's Jeff White, and I'm a member of the Board of Directors here. I want to thank everybody for being here and extend a special welcome to any visitors and all visitors that we have. If you'd like more information about the fellowship, you can check at the table in the fireside room, or you can look online and sign our virtual guest book at uufames.org/guestbook. And whether you're joining us from home or here in the fellowship hall, we invite you to stay after the service, and I suppose after the vigil, for coffee fellowship, where you can introduce yourself and join in conversation with kindred spirits. And then a bit of an announcement. Next Sunday, June 16th, we'll bid a fond farewell to our interim minister, Reverend A.J. Our service will be a special celebration, the Church of the Cabaret, where we'll feature several performances from within our congregation, exchange some parting words and well wishes, and enjoy a fellowship art show with an appetizer, finger food, potluck. If you're interested in contributing to the food and setup and cleanup effort, please talk with Jamie or sign up at the welcome table up front. Join us as we celebrate the close of a wonderful chapter in fellowship life. As you've probably heard by now, it's been a week of great loss for our fellowship with the passing of three much beloved souls. Following today's service, we're holding a vigil of beloved community to share some readings, a little music, and a time of sharing. We'll have a 5-minute break after this service, and then we'll reconvene. Please join us in this time of community. Well, so on behalf of this caring and nurturing congregation, I welcome each and every one of you to this sacred space. Here we invite you to an experience of transformation, hope, renewal, and connections, which may inspire you to understand life in new ways. Thanks for joining us today.
Our opening words this morning are from Margaret Atwood. My father, 90 years ago, at the age of, my guess, 10, walked 3 miles through the forest on his way to school. Along the sedgy, wet-foot shore of the brimming, eel-filled, rush-fringed, peat-brown river, leaving a trail of jittering black flies, his hands already broad and deft at the ends of his fraying sleeves. Along this path, he noticed everything: mushroom and scat, wild bloom, snail and iris, club moss, fern and cone. It must have been an endless breathing in, between the wish to know and the need to praise. There was no scene. One day he saw a drenched log floating heavily downstream, and on it, a butterfly, blue as eyes. This was the moment, I later heard, that shot him off on his tangent into the abstruse world of microscopes and numbers, lapel pins, cars, and wanderings. Away from the 10 square miles of logged out bush lots he never named as poverty, and the brown, meandering river he was always in some way after that, trying in vain to get back to. in honor of our fathers and our fathers' fathers, this morning we light this chalice. Please rise now in body or spirit for our opening song, number 128, For All That Is Our Life.
AJ asked if I would do this about a month ago. I knew exactly what I was going to say. Then about a week later, we had an outstanding program all about religious education. Thank you, Dana Poss and RE crew. I considered changing my topic, but decided that RE deserves all the attention that we can focus on it. So here goes our journey, Donald's and mine and Bess's, to the UUFA. Back in the 80s, the Tribune published little two-sentence blurbs telling the public about the Sunday service topics for the church's names. Occasionally, the Unitarian Fellowship had their turn on the religion page. Donald and I had no idea what Unitarianism was about, but the topic sounded intriguing. Inertia being the force that it is, we never found our way to 1015 Highland Avenue. Then one day I sat beside Star Rankin at an ISU vegetarian dinner. She mentioned that she was the RE director for the UFA at the time, and that the curriculum for sixth graders for the upcoming year would be world religions. That hit the right spot to get us moving. We had been thinking our daughter Bess was missing part of her education. We wanted her to know stories, the culture, and the beliefs of Judaism and Christianity so she could be a knowledgeable and effective participant in society. So, world religions, even bigger and better. That fall, we came in our Sunday finest just as our Methodist upbringing dictated. When we picked Bess up after her first class, we were faced with a very unhappy child. If looks could kill. Oh, the embarrassment she suffered. She was the only kid in the RE class not wearing a t-shirt and shorts. It's a wonder we ever got her to darken the door of a UUFA. But time passed and wardrobe standards were adjusted. Bess made friends and was in a wonderful cohort of kids who grew up together through coming-of-age programs, sex education, the really bad one, or the really good one, depending on your point of view. RE classes, overnights, plays, presentations to the congregation, canoe trips, and many, many heart-to-heart discussions. They explored their values and helped each other through the difficulties typical of their age. And in doing so, they became a caring community of teenage UUs. During this time, they had the guidance and friendship of many adults who served as RE directors, teachers, mentors, and chaperones. I want to honor one person in particular, someone whose love and devotion to this fellowship will have a lasting impact, Bennett Sherman, who sadly passed away earlier this week. Bennett was RE director during much of the time this cohort of kids was truly coming of age. She was someone they could talk to and relate to. She kept things interesting and fun. She made safe places for them. She made sure they had time for serious discussions. Bless you, Bennett. We will keep you in our hearts forever. So what happened to those kids who came through RE with our daughter? As documented by their parents, they are doctors, scientists, teachers, professors, artists, attorneys, journalists, community planners, occupational therapists, environmental engineers, past Peace Corps volunteers, and even current RE teachers. What do they all have in common? Well, thanks to RE, a solid background in UU principles and values. It is a cause for hope. However much we worry and despair, we can count on them and future generations of RE graduates to stand up to the challenges the world faces. Never forget the importance of UUFA religious education. One more point before I get the gong. As grandparents, Donald and I are pleased to see the impact of RE on another generation of our own family. We have watched our 7- and 3-year-old grandchildren run happily off to their RE classes and into the loving arms of dedicated RE teachers at the UU Society of Sacramento. At 3, Ray mostly looks forward to juice and graham crackers. It's trading for coffee hour, I think. 7-year-old Zella enjoys everything about RE and is happy to talk about it. She recently stood on a wooden box behind a podium to tell the congregation what she will do with her one wild and precious life. She will be a professional skier. She will take care of cats. And here's the best one. She will be kind to everyone. I think she's learning the principles. See me after fellowship. I have video.
Thank you, Dorothy. Will you join me now in a time of prayer and meditation? And our prayer this morning comes from Kirk Lodeman Copeland. Next Sunday is Father's Day, but it's also Cabaret Sunday. So in anticipation of Father's Day next Sunday, I chose this prayer because I think sometimes Father's Day gets lost in the shuffle. Let us praise those fathers who have striven to balance the demands of work, marriage, and children with an honest awareness of both joy and sacrifice. Let us praise those fathers who, lacking a good model for a father, have worked to become a good father. Let us praise those fathers who, by their own account, were not always there for their children, but who continue to offer those children, now grown, their love and support. Let us pray for those fathers who have been wounded by the neglect and hostility of their children. Let us praise those fathers who, despite divorce, have remained in their children's lives. Let us praise those fathers whose children are adopted and whose love and support has offered healing. Let us praise those fathers who, as stepfathers, freely chose the obligation of fatherhood and earned their stepchildren's love and respect. Let us praise those fathers who have lost a child to death and continue to hold that child in their heart. Let us praise those men who have no children, but cherish the next generation as if they were their own. Let us praise those men who have fathered us in their role as mentors and guides. Let us praise those men who are about to become fathers. May they openly delight in their children. And let us praise those fathers who have died, but live on in our memory, and whose love continues to nurture us. May it be so, and amen. And today, in our moment of silence, we remember the lives of Annette Sherman, Lisa Larson, and Reverend Kent McCusick. May they be with us always.
The story of Norbert Chapek's flower ceremony by Reverend Teresa Schwartz and Reverend David Schwartz.
Norbert Chapek's mother was a devout Catholic, his father agnostic. He became an acolyte at age 10 in 1890 at St. Martin's Catholic Church. In the years that followed, he became disillusioned. His priest was a cynic.
At 18, apprenticed to his uncle, a successful tailor in Vienna, Norbert discovered the Baptists and became a minister. He founded almost a dozen churches from Ukraine to Budapest.
Yet slowly, his faith became more and more liberal.
He left Bohemia under government threat and accepted a call to serve a Baptist church in New York City until one day in 1919. That day, he wrote in his diary, "I cannot be a Baptist anymore, even in compromise. The fire of new desires, new worlds, is burning inside me."
Norbert and his wife, Maya Chapek, joined a Unitarian church in New Jersey in 1921 for the same reason a whole lot of you did. Their children liked the religious education program. That's the power of our Sunday school teachers. Kids, that's your power too.
World War I ended. His home country now independent, he and Maya returned to Czechoslovakia.
His Unitarian church was the Prague Liberal Religious Fellowship. In just 20 years, his church had 3,200 members.
The traditional Christian communion service of bread and wine wouldn't meet the needs of his congregation because his church, like ours, had people who believed different things.
Chapek returned to the beauty of the countryside, to the beauty of flowers. In 1923, he developed the flower ceremony. He asked his congregants to bring a flower to church from their gardens, the field, or the roadside, or Hy-Vee. He invited each person to place their flower in a vase. There was the church community no less unique for being united. Following the service, each person could take a flower from the vase, a different one than they brought.
Chapek was a visionary minister with a church ahead of its time, a bold church, a church thinking beyond its doors, beyond what it thought possible.
It was a church that was willing to take risks, to make tough decisions, to bear disappointment, and to build a new way. First, by building a church that could build up the world.
That is our church. That was Chapek's church.
And for this, the Gestapo arrested him in 1942. The Nazis accused Chapek of listening to foreign broadcasts and sent him to the Dachau concentration camp.
Even in starvation and torture, he held a flower ceremony with his fellow prisoners, finding whatever flowers they could among the weeds of the camp. They testified to a beauty larger than themselves and a love that would outlive them.
The Nazis killed Norbert Chapek, but his spirit, courage, and commitment live on today. Those qualities have passed now to us to make them real.
His wife, Maya, brought the flower ceremony to the Unitarian Church in Cambridge, Massachusetts in 1940.
What we are about to do is not a historical reenactment of something over and done, but an affirmation of our continuity with the generations of struggle for ever-widening liberty.
This flower ceremony, lovely though it is, isn't a diversion from ugly reality, but a gentle fierceness which proclaims that in the midst of sinister days, there is always the light of beauty.
We are here not to recall something that happened, but to remember something that is happening, to remember, to put it back together again. And in that remembering, may we put ourselves back together again, each as a part of the body of this community, out of many, one.
Today, we celebrate this ritual of solemnity and joy.
As Chapek asked his people to bring a flower and celebrate beauty, so shall we. And now we will begin by consecrating the flowers in the words of Dr. Chapek. Infinite Spirit of life, we ask thy blessing on these, thy messengers of fellowship and love. May they remind us, amid diversities of knowledge and of gifts, to be one in desire and affection to thy holy will. May they also remind us of the value of comradeship, of doing and sharing alike. May we cherish friendship as one of thy most precious gifts. And may we not let awareness of another's talents discourage us or sully our relationship. But may we realize that whatever we can do, great or small, the efforts of all of us are needed to do thy work in this world. May it be so, and amen.
But before the flowers, we will now give and receive our offering. Please know that this morning, half of the non-pledge offering will be donated to the Community Academy. The Academy engages K through 12 students in a community project-driven educational experience. Learning is through interdisciplinary nature-focused projects, skill-building classes, and experiences that foster relationships, critical thinking, and citizenship. The other half of the offering will support programs here in our fellowship that make this a community of inspiration, transformation, and belonging. We'll pass the basket here in Fellowship Hall, but alternately for those at home or here with a cell phone, you can go to uufames.org/give to make your contribution today. If you are visiting today, please know that your presence here is gift enough. And we thank the Ames Chamber Artists for their music of Earth Song by Frank Ticelli.
now time to share in the flower communion. I ask that you each in turn approach the communion tables quietly, reverently, with a sense of how important it is for each of us to address our world and one another with gentleness, justice, and love. I ask that you select a flower different from the one you brought, that particularly appeals to you. As you take your chosen flower, noting its particular shape and beauty, please remember to handle it carefully. It is a gift that someone else has brought to you. It represents that person's unique humanity, and therefore it deserves your kindest touch. If you're joining us today on Zoom, gaze upon the flowers before you, or picture one in your mind, quietly and reverently. And as you touch your flower, speak the name of a person who is dear to you. Each blossom represents a connection. Let us now share quietly in this Unitarian Universalist ritual of oneness and love. And if you would like someone to bring you a flower, please raise your hand.
Thank you.
Does everyone have a flower? This prayer was also written by Dr. Chotbeck. In the name of Providence, which implants the seed of the future in the flower and in our hearts, for the longing for people to live in harmony. In the name of the highest, in whom we move and who makes the mother and father, brother and sister, lover and loner what they are. In the name of sages and great religious leaders who sacrificed their lives to hasten the coming of the age of mutual respect, let us renew our resolution sincerely to be real brothers and sisters, regardless of any kind of bar which estranges us from each other. In this holy resolve, may we be strengthened, knowing that we are God's family, that one Spirit, the Spirit of love, unites us, and we endeavor for a more perfect and joyful life. And the people say, Amen. Please rise now in body or spirit for our closing song, number 305, De Coloris.
Showers, all the
closing words are from Robert Frost. Nature's first green is gold, her hardest hue to hold. Her early leaf's a flower, but only so an hour. Then leaf subsides to leaf. So Eden sank to grief. So dawn goes down to day. Nothing gold can stay. Go now in peace. Special thanks today to Dr. Jennifer Rogers and the Ames Chamber Artists. For our special music this morning. Next Sunday is my last Sunday, and we will celebrate with the Church of the Cabaret, beginning with a processional with bagpipe. Everyone is welcome to join us. Come early, stay late. Light refreshments following. And go now in peace. We will reconvene in about 5 minutes or so for our Vigil of Remembrance and the beloved community. In here, yes. Let's begin our special service by singing hymn number 354, We Laugh, We Cry.
We
into this circle of loss. Come into this circle of compassion. Come into this circle of memory. Come into this circle of love. In Unitarian Universalism, it is our practice to light a chalice whenever we gather in sacred time. We know that in spite of death, the circle of life holds us all. Welcome, friends. We laugh, we cry, we live, we die. We dance, we sing our song. And today we return to this beloved community of kindred spirits, a place where each one of us can belong for a season of life. And this week we are deeply saddened to share news of 3 dear friends from this community who are suddenly no longer with us. Lisa Larson, age 65, recently of Boulder, Colorado. Lisa was a former UUFA board president and member whose life was tragically ended last Friday following a biking accident. She leaves behind her husband, Art Konar, and children Dylan, Joshua, and Ileana. And her memorial service was yesterday. Lynette Sherman, age 74, of Ames, passed away on Monday after a long battle. Sons Dan and Tom and their families and ex-husband Peter carry her memory forward. Lynette's memorial service will be here at the Fellowship this coming Saturday, June 15th at 2:00 p.m. She was a former director of religious education at the Fellowship, as well as a member and friend over the years. And finally, Reverend Kent McCusick, age 72, the retired 3rd settled minister of this fellowship, most recently living in Fort Worth, Texas. Reverend Kent was minister here from 2012 through 2022, and he passed away on Tuesday after a couple months battling lung disease, leaving behind his husband, James Perrin, as well as extended family. And the service details and obituary are still pending. So let us pause now for a moment as we gather our personal feelings, thoughts, and prayers, and we meditate on the meaning of this occasion. I invite you to offer a prayer, a word of wisdom, a blessed memory, a spirit of compassion, both in the silence of your own hearts and, if you are so moved, to come forward into this sanctuary of peace, to share your truth with our beloved community. Up to the mic on the mic. And if you're joining us today on Zoom, we will open it up for you to speak after we finish here in Fellowship Hall.
Is this on? No, it's not coming through. We turned it off. No, the light's great on my end. Hello. 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 bit closer. Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Bradley. Pretty much everyone knows me here. I've been around churches for all of my life. I have been deeply involved in their leadership and as a staff member here for the last 10 years. And I've never seen this. I know that I'm often kind of off in the distance, or I keep my distance. But I know how much of a loss all three of these people were to this community. And I made some calls on Wednesday, and it was the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life. I didn't really know Lisa very well. I just know that she was a professor at the university, and that she felt called to the work that she did. And that's really, I guess, what I'd like to say. Bennett very clearly had a calling. This unknown something that draws you to the work. A lot of people here probably have felt that about what they do in their lives. And it's important to try to listen to that. I came to Reverend Kent. I actually knew him socially before I came here. And he said, you know, we've got this opening. You should just give it a shot. And here I am, just shy of 10 years later. I knew that I wanted to be in church work. I didn't really know what. I still don't know if that's going to expand.
Preach it!
I don't know if that's going to expand into something else. But he really helped me nurture that sense of call. It's something that a lot of people probably don't realize, being a congregant here. He was a wonderful mentor. We do know there will be some kind of service that will probably live stream some up here. But I guess I would just say, in honor of all three, even if you have retired, which I look out and there are many of those folks here, you still have a sense of calling. You still feel called to be together. You still feel called to love your neighbor, to fight for a cause. And if there's something that I think all three of those people would want us to do, it's to listen to that, even when it's hard.
I'm not going to try to move that, I'll just get a little taller. I did not know Lisa very well, but when Reverend Kent left, I thought, how will I get along without him? I just felt very close to him from the moment I saw him till beyond his leaving here. And then we got AJ, and I thought, oh, how will we ever get along without AJ? And yet looking forward to Kelly's coming and being with us. And I have a beautiful memory to share of some very special time with Annette just a few weeks ago. Nancy organized several women from the group Women in the Round to go and be with her at her bedside and sing to her. And sometimes she was very quiet, her eyes closed, and we thought, oh, maybe this is it. And then she would sing, we would see her lips moving, and she would be singing along with me. It was a beautiful experience that I will never forget.
Well, I didn't know Lisa or Bennett very well, but I have a lot of wonderful memories of Kent. I was visiting the congregation when he did his candidate service, and I'm with a friend, and afterwards I turned to my friend and I said, if they call him, I'm joining. And I did, and I have never regretted it. And he was just, he had such a bright spirit, and I'm at a loss for words. This was so sudden and unexpected, and I have really appreciated his support, his, everything he did was just filled with light and joy.
My name is Elena Andrews. You might not know me super well. I'm not part of the UU congregation, but I was here with the chapel choir, with the ACA. And I knew Lisa Larson. She was my neighbor up in Northridge. And my parents and I were actually visiting Colorado last week, and we got to see Art and Lisa just a couple days before she passed. And it was really wonderful to get to see them. As many of you know, they were both lovely people. Lisa was just seeing her, even just being there, we just had dinner and sat at their house, but just sitting with Lisa is such a joy. She just has such a caring and offering presence. Just sitting with her, she was so intent, listening, interested in what I was doing, what I'm going to do in the future. Her son had similar digestive issues to me and so she told me everything that she did to help her son, and was just so willing to offer her knowledge to me as well. So I just wanted to come up here to share that. Missing her very much. She's, in my heart. So thank you.
My name is Dan Haug. Vanette was the director of religious art education when I was in RE, and of course that really helped me with the development of my beliefs and faith. Remember several guided meditations that she led that really kind of helped clarify my beliefs and thinking. She was central to the cohesion of that youth group. She led a trip to Boston. Of course, many of those youth are still my friends. So one is my wife. So really central to creating a place where I belong. And then Reverend Kent who was the minister when I came back to the fellowship, and really worked closely with him during the transition to the pandemic, and I really value the the way his theatricality sort of encouraged us to explore our emotions, like the laughing yoga always gets to me, and I'll miss them both.
Like Bradley, I've been the EU my whole life, and never have I seen a week like this. Is the mic picking me up?
Get closer to the mic.
Okay, is that better? I'm grieving for all three, of course. Lisa Larson was here, her kids grew up with my kids. And she started a children's choir. And it's an unimaginable loss. And Kent, of course, gave us so much. The one I really was closest to was Bennett, as most of you know. And she was DRE when my kids were here. We were friends before that and friends after that. And as she declined, her participation in the WOW group became very important to her. And she and I clicked, and I started calling her my kindred spirit as time went on. I was able to spend time with her, as was Jamie Gruginus, up to Liberty, and I wouldn't have missed it for anything. I have a poem I'd like to read that she sent to the WOW members, and I think she wrote it, but I can't be sure. But this is the poem, because it's so banal. When the morning is cold, blustery, and dark, I ponder whether to walk or remain still inside. Will I miss the dawn or the blue jay's bark? Is it not a sin to rail at the elements and hide? Outside my window, I watch the red leaves torn from trees. They scratch at the pavement and rest at the curb. My mind analyzes and finds reasons to please. My body, now warm and settled, need not be disturbed, but something stirs me to rise again and walk in beauty. Never mind the cold, never mind the mass of gray, for isn't it better to agree to do our duty, to behold, to honor, to embrace every day? No matter the weather, no matter my wines, I will greet this day. I will write these lines.
A few months after my husband died, Ginny Huntington read a poem at this fellowship in remembrance of her father. And it struck me so deeply that I memorized it and used it to recall after every death of a loved person that I experienced. So I wanted to share it with you. I think I remember it, but I wrote down some notes just in case. Death is not too high a price to pay for having lived. Mountains do not die, nor rocks, nor endless sky. Yet they never live. If choice there were, I would not hesitate to choose mortality. For never to have seen the fruited plain, or heard the wind, nor felt the warm sun on the salty sea, nor touched the hands of those I loved. Without these, all the gains of timelessness would not be worth one day of living or of loving, come what may.
Good morning. I'm Lori Allen, and I served this congregation as the religious educator from, I think, 2007 until 2015. But before that, I've been doing religious education work in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and Des Moines, Iowa, and for the Prairie Star District, which doesn't exist anymore. So I knew Bennett very early in my tenure as a religious educator, because we used to actually get together and do all sorts of wonderful things, RE directors and ministers. And one year, there were also these wonderful women's gatherings every year in the Prairie Star District. And one year it was at some scout camp in Wisconsin, and Bennett was going to lead a theater group, and I was going to lead a music group. And at the end of the 3 days, we were to come together and share what we had done. And Bennett and I had this great idea to combine the music and the theater. And, you know, we were all filled with these ideas, and we had about 10 women who were in our groups combined, and we got them to do this thing where we sang Holly Near's Sky Dances while they were dressed as muses and as this person who was, you know, trying to find their muse and their creativity and be good to themselves. We thought it was beautiful. And, you know, we practiced and practiced, and, you know, we're just all the emotion and all the feeling. And so when it's our turn to present, we're in this cafeteria, I'm sure, and our little person starts dancing around to the muses, and the audience just erupts in laughter, which was not at all what we had. You know, this was serious stuff. This person was trying to find their self-worth and their, you know, whatever. And they're just kind of looking at us and stuff, and afterwards, you know, Bennett and I are like, whoa, did you see that? And we're like, no, and we said, you know, this is just like Sunday morning. You have one thing planned and it turns into something else. But afterwards, as we're hanging up our costumes and stuff, one of the older women came over to us and she said, I didn't know what that was, but she said, I just have to ask, are you guys really religious educators? So, Bennett and I always laughed about that. And of course, I have many fond memories working with Kent, and Lisa was such a support as a parent when her kids were in the program and afterwards. So anyway, nice to have those memories.
Hi, I just want to recount a brief conversation I had with Bennett at least 15 years ago that has really stuck with me. It was the first time I'd sung a solo here. I think I was strong-armed into playing hymns that day. And for the offertory, I sang a song. And afterwards, she came up to me and said, what a beautiful voice I had. And I didn't know how to respond because I liked hearing it, but I felt very self-conscious. And I said, you know, in college, for like one semester, I had to take voice lessons. It was part of the whole music therapy thing. And I remember very clearly how my voice instructor said, well, you have a really breathy voice. And it was like, that was a bad thing, and so he was trying to help me overcome it. And I was a music teacher, I sang every day, but you know, it was little kid songs. And she said, it's something that I knew, but it struck me differently. She said, well, you know, if it's breathy, it's breathy. She goes, just think of all the different singers we have that people love and how different their voices are. And I say this not to compliment myself, but to say that that has really stuck with me and how important I think it is to tell people things that you appreciate. So I appreciated that about Bennett.
This has been such a difficult week with so much to take in and process. For each of these individuals, I had particularly Josh, Lisa's son Josh, in several RE classes from when we were building a three-dimensional model of the Holy Land and making a time machine and trying to incorporate all the kids' ideas in there. And I remember Lisa noticing that I was trying to get everybody to feel included, and that was just so affirming as an RE teacher. I felt very appreciated, and I had Josh all the way through high school in the youth group, and we just had so much fun together, and Lisa was always so supportive and had such a radiant smile, and I was just so jealous of how she just lit up a room. Bennett, I decided I needed to be early on when I started here at the fellowship on a committee, so I joined the RA committee and nobody wanted to be chair. So I ended up being chair and on all sorts of things, religious education forever. And so I had taught RE with Bennett the first time, and that was a group of 4th, 5th, 6th grade girls. I think Ruth was in that group. We made a quilt that's still hanging on the wall, and it has all our names up there, and every time I see it, I want to touch it, because that was such a dear, dear group. And my daughter asked me the other day, is that still there? And if don't ever get rid of it. There's girls that have passed away, and now Bennett, and it was just such a special group together. And then Bennett, when we had an opening, expressed an interest in the position, and I was able to be part of the hiring process for her. And she just had so many spiritual gifts that she shared. She had deep relationships with her women's group, and they did wild and crazy things. They swam naked in the pool and howled at the moon, and she taught so many spiritual practices to the kids, from dancing spiral circles, chanting, drumming, just deepening. And when my daughter wanted to get married, she wanted Bennett to marry her because she felt her dowry was her minister. That didn't happen, but that's how dear Bennett was to us. And the trips to Boston, my son got to go there several times and was asked to take that journey, that pilgrimage, as a leader as well. And she just helped my children to flourish here. And with Kent, I was part of the search committee when he started, and was involved with him with the Sunday Services Committee. I learned a lot. Didn't like to speak in front of people before. You couldn't get me to leave my seat. And now I can even give a sermon sometimes. And my voice doesn't shake as much as it used to, and I don't sweat as much. And he gave us so many gifts, from ha, ha, ho, ho, ho. And just that helps to relieve stress with the laughing yoga. And I was on the board with him, and we went through some difficult times. And there were times when people would get mad. Somebody said something and somebody's feelings would be hurt and somebody wanted to leave. And we always talked about staying at the table of discomfort and working it through. And I think that was one of the big themes with my relationship with Kent. And I just appreciate being able to have this vigil today, because it's just so been hard to process this all inside myself. I was able to go to Lisa's service yesterday. It was beautiful, just beautiful. And her kids spoke, all of them. I mean, when my mother died, I couldn't even speak. I just couldn't imagine that tragedy. And it was so, so beautiful.
I'm Kitty Fisher, and I didn't have that many personal or close contacts with Lisa, but I certainly respected her for her when she was board chair, etc. But I enjoyed following her sons and all their accomplishments. And of course, Dylan was a singer. I don't know if Josh really pursued that as much as Dylan did, so I follow Dylan's progress. And then Art, my heart just goes out to Art at this time. You know, when during Hanukkah, he would read that book. What was it called?
Herschel and
Herschel? Goblet. Anyway, it was always a highlight every Hanukkah time, because he had the perfect accent and the background, etc. So I just, I got to see the service yesterday too, and those guys were just so strong and courageous, so I hope that things go well for them as they try to regroup. Kent, I enjoyed his theater background, and we connected on music, and then also with Partner Church, because we couldn't get enough people together to have a church, a fellowship tour to go back. After the most recent had been 2011, but he on his own went. It was at the time that the Edict of Tordo, they were celebrating its 450th anniversary of freedom of religion, and he had a great time. I was just so pleased that he went. He had a lot of photos to show us, spent time with Loyosh and Tunda, just had a great time, and brought back our Kopiafa in his luggage. It was in 3 pieces. I couldn't imagine how he could get it in his luggage, but it was in 3 pieces. So, what? Yeah, right over there. Yeah. So that was a very special thing that he brought. And then to have Chad Eels fix that, whatever one calls it, stairway thing. That's really a nice gesture. With Bennett, I didn't really have much contact with her until she came back to Ames, because I wasn't really involved in RE. But I do remember there was a time, at some point in a service, she asked that we sing, "How Could Anyone?" And I just think I'd never sung that song before. I just want to read it. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. I just think it's a beautiful way to remember Bennett.
I'm Janelle. I came into this community as a child care provider, actually, in 2012, and it was because of Kent that I got more involved and eventually became a staff person here. And Kent was really special to me. He married my husband and I, and it was because of him that I really became to think of this place as a type of community for me as well. And when Kent retired, Bradley and I actually gifted him something that was a little bit of an inside joke. Kent loved to tell his stories, and I loved to listen because of the many lives he had. And we got him a subscription to Storyworth, where you would collect your memories and tell stories. And he actually shared a few of them with me as he was working on them. And he had very detailed stories. So there was one in particular that I won't share with you the full details, but it was on friendship. And because I know that so many of people in this community were considered a friend to him, I thought you all would appreciate some words that he shared. So his reflections on friendship throughout his life, especially friendship when he was younger in Maine, he ends this lovely story. As a 70-year-old man, I am thankful in many ways for growing up in this small mill town. I am thankful for parents who loved me and were willing to allow me the freedom to experience failure, because without failures, we do not grow. I am ever thankful for their support to try anything that I was called to try, even though that encouragement took me to places that they might not have wanted me to go. I am thankful for the gifts of teachers who demonstrated the incredible importance of wonder and awe. I am most thankful for childhood friends who learned and shared the values of honesty, trust, loyalty, and questioning and exploring the mysteries of life, cooperation, the importance of lightness and laughter in the face of oppression, the power of being open to new ideas, and the rejection of failure as futility. 65 years later, these remain as the qualities that I seek in friends. When I remain open to possibility, I have discovered that there are a lot of us seeking to find one another in our efforts to make the world a better place. I take friendship very seriously. Kent, July 7th, 2022. But he did take friendship very seriously, and I'm happy that he has this community and brought so many of us together.
I'm Larry Pearson. Kent, we first met Kent at a Christmas Eve service. I think it was 2012 or 2013. That was our introduction to the UUFA, and to a large part our introduction to the UU. Kent was the face and the spirit of the fellowship for us, and we're still here.
Hi, I'm Ronnie Kahn, and oh, sorry, go ahead.
My mom worked with Lisa and became very good friends with her. So after Lisa's retirement, and Lisa's two sons were sort of on either side of me age-wise. So as I grew up in the fellowship, and they did too, Lisa was a very a powerful force. I vividly remember her teaching me to sing in the Free Spirits. I remember many other things, right? Bennett, as Sarah mentioned, so I don't remember the details of who worked when. Lori also, very also was influential, but I remember Bennett's energy and gathering in here with the lights dimmed. I don't know what event this was, but or some kind of meditation, and then probably some other event like meeting, being introduced to, experientially introduced to varied traditions and practices. And that's something that has really driven me forward in my spiritual path, right? After in the years since I live in St. Paul, Minnesota now, so I'm visiting around town. Truly just a really hard to put into words the amount of influence both these women had in my life. Again, I know that everyone here feels the same way in different and unique ways. Thanks.
I'm Ronnie Kahn, and I joined UUFA during COVID, and so I didn't know Lisa at all, but I wish I had, just based on what I read about her and heard. And by the time I met Bennett, she was already well into the Alzheimer's. And so I never got to see that side of her, but I still could feel her warmth and her kindness, and she was a really special person, and I felt very bonded to her, in spite of her illness. Kent, even though Kent was younger than me, I felt like he was kind of a father figure. Once he realized that I was a committed UU, he really drew me in. And every time I talked with him, it never failed, never failed that he asked me a question that I really needed to hear, whatever it happened to be, on whatever topic we were talking about. And I really valued my interactions with him and was absolutely stunned that he was gone. I was looking forward to being able to be back in touch. But anyway, Lisa, Bennett, and Kent were very, very special to me, and I'll miss them tremendously. Thank you.
This is Sam Wormley. Lisa and I got to sing in the fellowship voices together. She was an alto and a good singer, and I truly enjoyed her company. She wanted me to be in the leadership train, you know, vice president, president, past president, overlapping with her because she always wanted to share the experience of working together. That didn't happen. I was in the leadership path later, but anyway, I truly miss her. And speaking of the fellowship voices, I had the privilege to direct the voices for almost 3 years. And one of the pieces that we did was the Robert Frost poem set to music by Randall Thompson, Choose Something Like a Star. And it was wonderful directing the fellowship voices because we could actually work together and create excellence. And when we performed that piece as part of the service, one service, in fact, we did it in 2 services. We were doing 2 services at the time. When we concluded that piece, which we did really well, the satisfaction of doing it well is what the real reward is. But I felt Kent's hand reach out and touch my shoulder, saying thanks for that piece of music. And he and I were close, and I'll truly miss that fellow. Thanks.
This is Maya Hazlett. Bennett was a very important person in my life growing up. She was RA director while I was in high school. Some others have already mentioned how special that high school group was. But I know that I learned a lot and that I had opportunities because Bennett was there. And I'll never forget the high school trip to Boston. It was such an amazing experience, and I'll never forget just what a good time we had. We had a really great time with Bennett on that trip.
Hi, I'm Irv Kloss, and I knew Lisa and a little bit, and I knew Bennett also. In fact, I think my wife was involved with hiring Bennett as RE leader. But I want to remember Kent particularly because I got to, when I heard he was from Maine, I wanted to interact with him about his experiences in whitewater canoeing and whitewater rafting, because that's something I wanted to always do. And then we met frequently, and then he invited me to go with him to Kansas City for the UU General Assembly. I can't remember when that was, but he while we were there, we stayed in the same hotel, but he invited me to attend a reunion dinner with his seminary class from the Starr King Seminary in San Francisco. It's where he graduated from. And then he was very, very important for me when Jen died. He gave a lot of solace to me, and he helped me plan me and my kids plan the memorial service for Janet, and I'll never forget that. So thank you, Kent, and I'm really sorry to have you pass.
Hi, I'm Matt Ferris, coming to you from Swannanoa, North Carolina. I have a long history with Kent, actually. Back when I was a PhD student, I had a teaching fellowship, and I taught a course on engaging others, and we dealt with some very difficult philosophical material, and had a wonderful student from Starr King by the name of Kent McCusick. He had a very difficult time with the material. And at one point, he thought he might drop the class. And I met with Kent in the refectory at the Church Divinity School of the Pacific, and we hung out and we talked about how to work through the material together. And one of the things that I told him was, you can surround what you don't know with what you do know. So what do you feel like you have a good handle on? What's your medicine? What are your gifts? And he talked about theater. And through working with Kent over the course of that semester, he really grew into an understanding of this very difficult material. And his final project for the class was a brilliant reinterpretation of a play, and we actually performed that play together in class, and it was an extraordinary experience for both of us, I think. And it was Kent that I contacted when I thought that I might like to become a Unitarian Universalist, and because I am prone to putting the cart before the horse, I told him that I probably would also like to be a minister. And he guided me through the process of discernment about whether that would be a good path for me. He helped me to choose the school that I'm at, and he just has been an extraordinary mentor and friend through the whole process. And I'm just excited to continue to pursue this vocation and to share so many of the gifts that he passed on to me that I can give to other people. So I feel extraordinarily blessed to have been influenced by him. And thank you for giving me an opportunity to give breath to such a blessing of a man.
Please join me in our responsive reading. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we remember them.
In the blowing of the wind and the chill of winter, we remember them.
In the opening of buds and in the rebirth of spring, we remember them.
In the blueness of the sky and in the warmth of
rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we remember them.
In the beginning of the year, and when it ends, we remember them.
When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them.
When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember them.
When we have joys we yearn to share, we remember them.
So long as we live, they too shall live, for they are now part of us as we remember them.
Our closing song today is number 123, Spirit of Life. Our closing words are from Sarah Moores Campbell. We receive fragments of holiness, glimpses of eternity, brief moments of insight. Let us gather them up for the precious gifts they are, and renewed by their grace, move boldly into the unknown. Go now in peace.